Running back that made 177 yards.
Kobe McCray.
Well, he's got two good ones in front of him, and
He played.
you can't always play three running backs, is it? So he's playing on special teams, and he's getting a few reps on offense. But right now, the other two are the ones that are in front of him.
Connor came in here and shared his story about kind of the time he had to put in as a walk-on to finally get his chance. What did he show you as far as his willingness to stick with it for so long?
Well, you just, walk-ons to make it has to be important to them. Football has to, because they got to spend the same amount of time and demands, and they got to pay for their own school and stuff. And so, he kept working and got himself in a position to play, at least be a backup. And when that happens with any walk-on, we try to take care of them. I think it's why go and recruit somebody that you think you know but you really don't know when you have a kid who's playing well enough that you do know. I mean, that's always been our philosophy. So to go ahead and reward those walk-ons before you recruit somebody else if a kid is helping you play. So Connor did all the things he needed to do and worked himself into that position. And once he did, he was awarded a scholarship. I have a different philosophy that's theirs, and we don't make a big deal out of it, outside the team. You know what I'm saying? But I think kids respect him, and he's worked awfully hard, but we've had several who've done that same thing.
Tracy, can you give us an update on how Mitch is doing?
I'll know more actually after practice, but they're going to let him do some light activity at practice. I guess that's the next step. So we'll do that and see what happens.
And so it's similar to last week where you guys put the injury report out on Tuesday, but it's always subject to change. Is it possible that he's back?
I don't know that. No, yeah. I mean, my opinion, it's going to be hard for him to take enough reps and do all that. We put a lot more on the quarterback's plate now than what we have in the past, and you need to practice. And so I'm not saying that he won't, but I think it's extremely difficult for that. But I'll have a better idea today. I see how he gets through today.
You realize you're only 6 minutes from being unbeaten.
Yeah, yep. 2 possessions, and I think it's been a thing on both sides of the ball. Is that at Penn State we need to get them stopped defensively, we didn't, and at Iowa we need to do better on offense. We did get a throw in the end zone, but for the game we need to play better. So, that's I think we have a good football team, but at the same time we have to play well. And I thought this last weekend was the first time that all phases kind of played together and showed what we could do, and it was on the road. So, but you don't get those back. So you keep moving, and we got to make sure that we do our best, prepare this week, and get this week, and try to get on a roll.
Your running back seemed genuinely unselfish in your room. I mean, these guys probably were used to getting a lot of carries in high school and being the guys. How do you create that kind of culture?
Yeah, I guess a good thing is they're friends, and they get along, but anyway, it's hard anymore, for one back anymore to get through a whole season, I think the kid at LSU is as good as anybody in the country, and he's been banged up and missed a couple games, and you carry the ball 30 times a game, and I think that's hard to do anymore. And so you can usually keep 2 of them happy. And Sid asked about Kobe. I mean, he's the one that's in the toughest position because he's got 2 awfully good guys in front of him, and he's an awfully good football player. And finding enough things for him to keep him happy and keep in it is a bigger concern than the first 2.
Coach, from the quarterback play, Saturday's game seemed to be the classic game where if you don't beat yourself, you can win an awful lot of football games.
Yeah, no question. And late in the game, not late, we got to we got up 17-0, and then when Garrison Wright went out, we were awfully careful. We didn't want to get in a situation where he got somebody ran through on a blitz, got a sack fumble, or put pressure on him through an interception, and so we felt good about the way the defense was playing, and got very conservative about it and said, hey, let's just play and then Rodney Connor did a good job getting us in the right play, and he took the long run and scored. And so I mean, he's Connor's capable of doing a lot more things than that, but because up front we slowed that down a little bit. But yeah, he had the one dropped snap where he couldn't hand it off on the one play, but at least he got on the ball and didn't turn it over. And anytime I mean, I think we got 14 points off turnovers, so we're creating some turnovers and getting some points. So yeah, as a team, we didn't make the big mistake that cost you.
Tracy, how does offensive line look, and how do you evaluate the guys that are playing? A lot of people are getting to play now.
Yeah, is that we have some kids that we played better. I still think we can improve on what we did, but we did finish some blocks, and it gave the backs a few more seams to be able to hit the seams. But we still got to make improvement up there. It's getting tougher with the injury part of it, but that's part of the game, and the guys who stepped in there played well enough for us to win. And we just got to be careful with our guys up front because we need them on game day. So they get limited reps in practice, and we're doing everything we can to stay healthy up there with the people we think we can win with.
Is Wright more banged up than you first thought? I know a couple weeks ago you said you thought he could play. I think it was with Colorado State, and now he seems to be still battling, especially when he's got to go last.
Yeah, I think we could have put him back in the game, but it was the same thing. As long as we kept at least a 2-score lead, we weren't going to do that and give him some rest. And is that we do have a conference rule that around here that when we win, we don't practice on Sundays. And so, I'm sure that'll help him out also. But I think we could have put him back in there if we absolutely had to. But with the lead, we decided not to.
Cody's not on the injury report. How's he doing? Is it possible he plays?
Yeah, he's been, he's the same way as those other guys. So he's been injured for a while now. He's cleared to practice, and so we'll see how he handles practice. But he's been cleared to. But it's the same thing. You got to practice well, and you got to hold up during the week during practice, and so he is cleared. I don't know how much he'll play though.
When you guys first got here, it seemed like depth at linebacker was a real issue in terms of how many guys you could play.
Yeah.
Being creative. Was that an emphasis you guys put in terms of recruiting different types of linebackers? It seems like you have a lot of.
Yeah. And it's also probably not fair to the linebacker coaches, but wherever we've been is when you get here and you start recruiting, it's always been D-line and secondary first. And I think that's where you win football games to start out with, And so they had a lot of linebackers on scholarship when we got here. And so that's all part of the, when you're building things is that we try to take care of the D-line and the secondary first. And now, that started with that class a couple years ago that we signed a lot of linebackers. And since then we've continued to sign 3 or 4 a year. But the other thing with that is the special teams, Chip. It's a lot of defensive kids, and we're getting a little bit more help from some kids on offense this year and that. But when you're going to play all those defensive kids on special teams, you got to sign a few more too.
Tracy, do you see Brandon Langen playing even more this Saturday?
As he knocks the rust off, and gets more comfortable, then it is. I said last week, some of these guys, they miss 3 or 4 ball games. It's hard just to jump in there and play a whole bunch all of a sudden. And so we'll work him in more and more.
Tracy, when you're facing a team that struggle and like Rutgers, and your kids look at the schedule and see 58-0, 78-0, how do you kind of manage that as a staff to make sure that they keep their eye on the ball and don't take anything lightly?
Well, one is you show them Iowa 14-7, which is the same as ours, and then the Illinois game, they moved the ball awfully well. They just turned the ball over. So they moved the ball awfully well against them. But still, it all comes down to is you worry about yourself, and if you want to have an opportunity towards the end of the year, you got to play your best each and every Saturday, and have respect for your opponent that you prepare for them. And if you don't, then something's going to happen. It happens every week, somewhere. Virginia Tech's awfully good football team, and this last week they slipped up against Syracuse, and so that's the challenge, and that's what we get paid for, I guess, to make sure they're ready to go on Saturday.
Tracy, I was going to ask you about Coney Durr. He, of course, has been injured and
Yeah.
played just that one game. Is it a potential medical
No,
situation? Okay.
no. So he's still messing around a little bit. He's not 100%, but yeah, we're going to start getting him work back in, and that medical depends on the type of injury and a bunch of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think we can get a sprained ankle through on that. And so we'll start working him back in.
Tracy, has Selston become a more complete linebacker?
Yeah, which you'd hope he would. Is that in high school is that a lot of it's against the run and not a lot of the pass, and by the time they get to their junior year, you would hope that that they would be towards the top of their game, and they do. And he's worked extremely hard. I mean, you watch his film, and he's fun to watch play. Loves to play football, and we needed him to come through with the injuries, and he just seems to get better and better each game.
What did you think of that play where he did the push-ups? He was so mad at himself.
Yeah. Is it? I guess they all have their own ways to motivate themselves a little bit.
With Winfield, I mean, you see a lot of poor tackling, guys going up top, trying to go for a kill shot. I mean, he's always going low and wrapping up. Is that, you see that often with the true freshman that knows how to tackle like that?
No, not. Yeah, and I've always said, some tackling is natural. I mean, it really is. Usually, good tacklers, you watch film, they good tackle, but he's probably been doing tackling drills since the third grade. I don't know. They may have their own set of tackling dummies or whatever. And again, I say that in the right way. I mean, his dad's a tremendous person, and football is extremely important to that family, as you know, and so he's been critiqued on everything he's done since he started playing the game, and it's a neat deal, and the more and more comfortable he gets, like I say, the more responsibility, and he just keeps getting better and better also, and it's helped us. I mean, we needed somebody to come through at safety, and he's done that.
Tracy, he didn't have a lot of stars associated with his name. What did you see in him as a high school player?
He was awfully good on film, and he showed up to camp. We knew he could run, and as I say, you take good athletes, and everybody says, boy, you'd like to have everybody in your secondary be 6'1" and 6'2", but not everybody can do that, and no different than the D-line with Steve Richardson and that. And so you take athletic, good football players, and because they're a couple inches short and they don't deserve however many stars or whatever, then that's why I think that I still said this before, is that you trust your own evaluations and your own eyes, and you sign kids who are good football players, and he definitely was.
And we'll take one more for Coach if there is one.
How have your wide receivers graded out the past couple games?
They actually grade out pretty good. Is that Iowa did a good job of of getting up and being physical with us, and then we didn't get the protection to throw the ball and get it where it's supposed to on time. But this kid played well. Is that I think Brian Smith had 3 big blocks in a game that led to big runs, and so they're a good group. They continue to get better, and again, we had 5 or 6 kids catch balls on Saturday. It wasn't as many, but at the same time, the running game was going good. So very pleased with where they're at, and like I said, we need to get Rashad worked back in a little bit more. He's still knocking the rust off of his injury a little bit, but Drew continues to be steady, and we're blocking. So I'm pleased with where they're at. Mm-hmm.
As a reminder, we have